Race 1 of the 2022 Pirelli French round goes lights out. Shortest straight, start-finish straight of the calendar, and it's Toprak Razgatlioglu who's the first to show that Scott Redding's got through on Jonathan Rea for second place. Good start for Garrett Gerloff up into P4. He's leapfrogged Alvaro Bautista. It's still Alex Lowes in 6th position. Michael Ruben Rinaldi, though, now bundling his way through on the inside as they come through Estoril, the long right-hander, and on to what is now the longest straight here in Magny-Cours, in towards the Adelaide hairpin. An opportunity for Jonathan Rea to come straight back through on Scott Redding for second position. Alex Lowes under pressure now from Axel Bassani, who's going to the outside. They're 4 abreast in towards turn 5. They touch Lowes and Gerloff is the one to lose out. He was in 5th position. He's now dropped down to 7th. So Loris Baz now looking to the inside of Garrett Gerloff. Axel Bassani was also the big loser out of that one because he went to the outside of that 4 abreast situation in towards the first gear Adelaide hairpin. Razgatlioglu wide. Razgatlioglu gives up the position as they come through the 180. It's Scott Redding who has hit the front for BMW. First front row start of the season for Redding and BMW, and they look like they may even lead to the end of lap number 1 here in race 1. Razgatlioglu straight back onto his tail. Rea in close attendance as well, and crucially Alvaro Bautista has now got up into 4th position. Alex Lowes scrapping with Michael Ruben Rinaldi behind. Here's going to be a move coming in towards the Adelaide hairpin on lap 2. Toprak to the inside. Redding's gone for the wider line. Watch out for Jonathan Rea trying to bundle his way past as well. Toprak bold under braking, but he's going to get past here by Jonathan Rea, who goes from 3rd to 1st. Razgatlioglu with the cutback then coming off turn 5. Redding tries to do the same. They've both managed to come past him. The Yamaha and the Kawasaki into 1st and 2nd positions. It's Razgatlioglu from Rea, and Redding's gone from 1st to 3rd. Alvaro Bautista then looks to the inside of Alex Lowes, and he is going to pass him in towards turn 15. Again, Alex Lowes in combat, and it was previously Garrett Gerloff. This time it's Alvaro Bautista, and that's what nicely.
That's Rea.
Rea's down! Jonathan Rea has come down, coming off the final chicane at the end of lap number 2. Toprak Razgatlioglu now with a comfortable race lead of over half a second ahead of Scott Redding. A rare mistake from Jonathan Rea in his 2nd crash of the weekend here in Magny-Cours.
2nd crash of the day for Rea, crashed in FP3 this morning, and now a crash through that last chicane.
Jonathan Rea remounts and tries to press on, but it doesn't look good at all for Jonathan Rea, who's pulling up now at the side of the circuit. So it's going to be no points scored from race 1 for Jonathan Rea.
Yeah, and for Rea, that as it stands right now, we'll put him 47 points adrift in the championship standings. Let's see what happens. Does he run over that inside curve? He just loses the rear coming through there. So for Rea, it's easy to get the bike unsettled through that corner. You place so much emphasis in the confidence that you have in the bike trying to run through this section, and maybe just tag the curb there for Rea, and that's what it was. But as it is, he's out of this race, out of 2nd position, and it's handed Toprak a comfortable advantage.
Toprak Razgatlioglu is down. Toprak with a lead of over a second to his nearest rival, Scott Redding. I cannot believe it. And Alvaro Bautista will be rubbing his hands together. He's up into 2nd place with his 2 main title rivals down in the gravel trap.
This is coming through Imola, down in towards turn 13. You'd imagine. Ooh.
Oh! And Toprak, in the end, doing well to avoid that being a whole lot worse than it eventually was.
Yeah, and Toprak would have just then ditched that before it comes up towards the tyre barrier, just so that he's still able to recover it and try and get back on to score some points. But big tank slapping moment there on the entry to the corner. You can see for Toprak there, still pushing hard at this stage, so probably minimal damage done to the bike.
Rea enters the pits, not keen to retire by the looks of things. You just never know with the inclement weather of Magny-Cours. You may get a red flag, you may get an opportunity to get back out there and get into contention. Does Bautista now settle into a rhythm and just say, do you know what, 2nd place is good enough? 20 points gained potentially, certainly over Jonathan Rea, potentially over Toprak Razgatlioglu as well. Or does he now go after Scott Redding and risk it all for those extra 5 championship points? Redding with the inside line, Bautista with the outside, and again, Bautista is going to have to play second fiddle. He's going to try and get the cut back, but there's no opportunity coming off that first gear hairpin at turn number 5, or is there? Bautista pops his way through as they come up towards the Nürburgring chicane, and Alvaro Bautista is released into the lead. And remember that Toprak Razgatlioglu and Jonathan Rea are last and second last, and Bautista has an opportunity to open up his championship gap to 56 points to his nearest rival if he stays where he is now at the front of the field.
Toprak and Jonathan Rea, the two fastest riders on the racetrack right now, right at the back of the field. Just looking at it, Loris Baz, he's got Bassani, Rinaldi, Lowe's, Gerloff and Lecuona all lapping faster than him in that group from 3rd down to 7th position. But for Lecuona, a little bit of ground to make up on the likes of Gerloff, with a full second really to find right now. But Lecuona setting some good lap times now as he gets used to the track.
Toprak Razgatlioglu famously recovered from 16th on the grid here in Magny-Cours to take his first victory in 2019. It's déjà vu quite literally here in France as he tries to fight his way through. He's in 22nd position now, having come through on Oscar Gutierrez. The next couple of gimmies as well, Tati Mercado and Oliver Koenig. A little bit further to go then to close down Hafiz Shireen after that. And then 15th position, Eugene Laverty, 18 seconds away from the race leader. So 7 seconds for Toprak to find to get into the points.
Rinaldi needs to make that move on Baz as well, because it also in the championship standings brings him closer to Locatelli for 4th in the World Championship. Makes it much more difficult for Ducati whenever he's doing Oh, Baz down!
Loris Baz from a podium position has fallen. Loris Baz, the number 76, the home man, who was looking good for a 3rd position, has fallen, and that allows Michael Ruben Rinaldi and Axel Bassani's fight that was for 4th position to now have higher stakes of a podium place.
Loses the front through there. You mentioned about that bit of a bobble that he had half a lap ago as well. So for Baz, pretty clear he was right on the limit, and now drops all the way down out of the points paying positions, but he has managed to get himself rejoined.
Rinaldi through the gravel trap. Michael Ruben Rinaldi runs off at turn 1. That's going to be a long run now through Estoril, and he's going to be picked off certainly by Lecuona for 6th place, possibly by Vierge. Vierge now comes through. Ertl through as well. Whether that might be a technical problem for Michael Ruben Rinaldi or just overcooking it into the first turn. He's back up and running at speed now, so Rinaldi running wide, and that promotes Axel Bassani, his main rival, into the podium positions here today. Toprak now making his way through down the inside of Luca Bernardi. That will be for 17th position. Next up, Christophe Ponson, and then Loris Baz. It might be slightly harder to get through on Loris Baz than some of the riders that Toprak has encountered thus far, but it still should be fairly straightforward. Baz caught out by that incident, of course, as Razgatlioglu sides his way through on Ponson now for 16th place. Just one more position to gain for Toprak to be back in the points.
Shows just how strong he is around this track. Just that costly mistake at the start of the race, but now into the points at least, and trying to salvage something from it.
Toprak through then on Loris Baz. We ride on board with him. He's got Eugene Laverty and Kota Nazane within touching distance. Those two scrapping out for 13th place. So that's 3 World Championship points for Toprak, who I suspect will be through on possibly both of them by the time we get to the Adelaide hairpin. Here comes one coming off Estoril. This is going to be a masterclass. It's almost like riding a PlayStation, isn't it, here, riding on board with Toprak as he makes his positions up in straightforward fashion against some of the lesser lights further back. Eugene Laverty is next to succumb. 13th position for Toprak, and under braking. Look at the closing speed of Toprak. Through he goes. Look at the background of the shot there. There's 4 riders scrapping it out over the position currently held by Xavi Vierge, 9th place. Mayas trying to bundle his way through. Jonathan Rea a lap down in the mix with those as well. So he's just finding his way. Next rider for him to try and pass is Xavi Vierge. But remember, these 3 riders around him are scrapping for position. Vierge 9th. Mayas now relegated behind Locatelli into 11th. So Andrea Locatelli up into the top 10 places.
Yeah, there's a race going on, and Jonathan's not involved in it, but he's getting involved in it, and he needs to either clear Xavi Vierge really quickly and then get out of the way, or else just get out of the way, because for these riders, they're into the last 4.5 laps. They don't need to have someone that's not in the battle getting in the middle of it.
On the final lap, here is Vierke defending against Van der Mark, unsuccessfully runs wide at the Adelaide hairpin, so that's 1 place gained for Toprak. He moves through into 12th, and here he is on acceleration up towards the Nürburgring chicane. Razgatlioglu tries to make it stick, but you can't outaggress Michael Van der Mark. He's certainly a determined man in his own right. They come now through the 180. The left-hander Van der Mark's left the door open. Toprak should be through then for 11th position. Some great late sparring outside of the top 10 places.
Yeah, and that will put Toprak up into 11th and at least able to claim some points back on Jonathan Rea in the championship standings for second.
Alvaro Bautista, with the 24th victory of his Superbike World Championship career, goes joint with Carlos Checa as the most successful Spanish rider for race wins in Superbike history, and he does it in Magny-Cours, where he'd never previously been on the podium. A decisive race in the context of the championship. Bautista wins it. Up onto the podium for a third round in succession is Scott Redding for second. Axel Bassani takes his first podium of the year. It's P3 for him. Comparative disappointment for Michael Ruben Rinaldi, who ran off the circuit whilst in the podium places and finishes in P6.